All right, hey everyone, and welcome to a off-season edition of Frozen Oil. Hope everybody's enjoying their summer and the beautiful, beautiful weather we've had here in Edmonton for the last couple of weeks now. It's been amazing. Welcome, Raj, to the show.
Hey, it's
Been
been a
a while,
while.
buddy, and we're still a little bit upset about the back-to-back Stanley Cup losses. But on today's episode, we're going to kind of bring everybody up to date as to what's going on here in the last few days here since our last video, which is we have some new coaches here behind the bench in Edmonton. And we're going to look at some of these new signings, how they'll fit into the lineup. And we're going to talk a little bit about the cap crunch. So that's kind of the framework for today's episode. So hope you guys enjoy it. And let's get into this, Raj. First and foremost, we have some new coaches behind the bench. We're going to talk a little bit about this. And more importantly, why changes were made. Number one, we have Paul McFarland coming in. He is the former Calgary Hitmen head coach, and he is coming in to work our power play in replace of Glenn Gulletson, who's now the coach of the Dallas Stars. So I guess we'll talk about Paul McFarland first. And I personally, Raj, I felt that in the playoffs last year, that was a major disappointment for our team, and it really cost us. I mean, we were kind of doing well on the 5-on-5 efforts on the road to the Stanley Cup final, but once we hit that Stanley Cup final, the power play just disappeared. And against a team like Florida, once again, you need goals any way you can get them. And unfortunately, we just couldn't cash in on that power play, even though we have McDavid and Draisaitl. It just didn't seem to click. So what are your thoughts on having a new power play coach?
Yeah, it's really hard to explain. The year before it was like amazing, almost unstoppable, pretty much unstoppable, really. I mean, it was like clicking at a historic rate. So the same players, the same coaches, and a different result, like really, really weird. But that just means that the other teams adjusted to our, flaming hot power play, and we have to adjust to their adjustment. So we stay on top, right? And obviously that didn't happen. And maybe, I don't know if you could have the best power play for 2 playoff runs in a row. I guess not, but hopefully some new changes, maybe a little different system or something to kind of give it that spark that it had before.
And one thing I'm wondering about is I found that, with our power play, I mean, of course it's going to be difficult to keep McDavid and Draisaitl off the ice, but the second unit power play rarely got time. Like sometimes they would get, the last 20 seconds of a power play or whatever, right? And it's just like they never got any kind of, in-game kind of practice. And I one of the things I'm hoping for is that they kind of, with a different set of eyes looking at it, they make some adjustments, especially on the left-hand side where Nuge plays. I feel that, if we can put somebody there that kind of has a one-timer capability. Nuge doesn't, rarely takes a slapper. He's usually doing his patented, post and in wrist shot, which I love. But, you don't have that much time in today's NHL to set up and stuff. So hopefully we get, some new looks as far as who's on the ice, and they put together some sort of a second unit power play because, like you said, Raj, the personnel didn't change, and they found a way to stop it, and they couldn't adjust. So maybe that's the time where you put the second unit power play on, and maybe they can make something happen, right?
for sure. I mean, it'd be nice to have more balance. And they basically would, on every power play, they were all in on McDavid and Draisaitl, which is like not wrong because they're the best players, man, in hockey. So obviously we get it. You're going to ride those guys. But sometimes you could tell that they're tired or they're not clicking or whatever, for whatever reason. The chemistry is not there that night. So it'd be nice to have an option to say, hey, let's put somebody else in, especially like even with Bouch, as much as I love Bouch from the point, sometimes he's off. And now, you have a Wallman that can step in. He's shown that, he could give you a good 30, 40 seconds of a power play. So why not use him?
Yeah, he's got some offensive capability for sure. Moving on with the coaches, Connor Allen is coming in as the skills coach. So welcome aboard. But the one that everyone is waiting for, and especially myself, is Peter Aubry is our new goaltending coach, replacing Dustin Schwartz, who's been here for over a decade. And I mean, he doesn't have a new goalie to work with. He's, from the looks of things, we're going into the season with the same tandem as last year. They've kind of hinted at it so many times here in the off season that, they're not looking for a goalie and what they have. But I mean, we were talking, me and you before we hopped on here to record, and it's just, how do you kind of expect this coach to come in and kind of change things when, I mean, the what he has to work with is basically the same thing that we've been dealing with for 3 years now. So I mean, yeah. Very, very heavy expectations for Peter Aubry, but I just personally don't see how he's gonna make these gigantic changes for our goaltending. I mean, there was a point they mentioned that, Calvin Pickard wasn't even listening to the advice of Dustin Schwartz. I don't know if you remember that, and he was kind of doing it on his own. So for us, I mean, I've been, wondering how he's been part of the organization for over a decade and not really had the results of, developing a number one goalie in our system. I mean, you had a decade. So, I mean, is that the drafting of the Edmonton Oilers? There's always going to be the devil's advocate argument that we could have as to why, since we've had Connor McDavid. I mean, this goes way further back. I mean, this goes back to the early 2000s of, not having that long tenured, consistent number one goalie. But like I said, his time ran out, his contract ran out. And funny enough, I believe he's joining Gulutzan in Dallas. Is that right? Am I correct on that? Does he have another job, Dustin Schwartz?
I'm not sure. I know Gulutzan took our skills coach.
Okay. Maybe it's that. All right. So I mean, Olympian. So yeah, there's a lot of fans. Some fans that I speak to on a daily basis that have been calling for the dismissal of Schwartz for the longest time, and their argument has been that he actually makes our goalies worse. So, maybe having that different voice in the head for Stuart Skinner is going to be, kind of refreshing. And again, he's 26 years old, turning 27. So, I mean, he's getting on that, side where you're kind of expected to have your game at this level. But I see this personally as kind of the last chance for him. If he can't prove to be a starter at this point, because last year, I believe Pickard won 22 games. That's a big chunk of games for a backup goaltender to win. And he basically stole the starting position, 2 games into the playoffs. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. But for me personally, I'm just happy that we have somebody else in there because 10 years is a long time, and it would be different if, say, half that time was successful, or the whole 10 years was a success. But the number one problem or glaring issue with the Edmonton Oilers has been, for me anyways, over the last 10 years, with Connor McDavid on the team, the weakest position to me has always been goaltending between the pipes. What do you think?
For sure. Yeah, I mean, I think they felt that they needed to do something. Now, they probably looked for a goalie. That was probably their first option, but they struck out. So you couldn't bring in a new goalie. What are you going to do? You got to get rid of the coach. How much is that going to, make a difference? No idea. But you're 100% right. Under him, our goaltending has been subpar for way too long. He didn't do anything to learning from what Skinner did last year. So you thought maybe, okay, he'd be different this year under, the coaching. But basically Skinner's been the same. We haven't really seen improvement, but like you said, he's still young, so he could take like a big leap next year. Who knows? But a change was needed, so they made it. And the same thing you said about us not drafting, does that, or not developing, does that fall on him or on our scouts? And yeah, you're right. I mean, only time will tell who shares most of the responsibility or the blame for us having, crappy goaltending for Connor McDavid.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to blame first and foremost Chiarelli and Holland on that, because, I mean, Chiarelli was not a great follow-up to Tambellini. But was it Tambellini prior to Chiarelli?
Yeah, because Tambellini, he's the one who drafted Hall, and then Chiarelli was the one who traded him.
Yeah. So I mean, he wasn't the greatest GM. His moves are the proof in the pudding. But Holland, in my opinion, again, as the GM of the Oilers, nothing personal, but the moves this guy made, I think he just sabotaged the entire, completely sabotaged McDavid from age 25 to 29. Just completely sabotaged those prime years. That's why it hurts so much. But we can't keep dwelling on the past. And hopefully this new goalie coach comes in, whether it's with these guys or whether we get somebody later on, whether that's during the year or before the deadline, if we pick up a goalie. Hopefully, when you bring in a goaltending coach, you got to give him a few years to kind of work with the goalies. So hopefully it becomes something positive for the Oilers, because that's definitely an area that the Oilers need some, improvement in, to say the least. And so that's pretty much the introduction of the coaches. Second thing we wanted to talk about a little bit here, and we obviously brought in Mangiapane. We made a trade as well for Isaac Howard. I didn't do a video on that one. Like I said, there was a lot of excitement in the community. I wasn't, super excited about that, because it's got nothing to do with Isaac Howard. It has to do with the fact that we are banking on a guy to come in that's a rookie, and that just means you got to wait a little longer, right? I mean, I'm sure this Howard is going to come in, and in a couple years he's going to probably be what we need him to be now, but I just don't see that happening right now. And I loved O'Reilly. I loved that we drafted him. I loved that we traded, to draft him, and he was developing really well. That two-way center that we were kind of missing, since McLeod left. To just kind of handle that third line. I've always been saying, by the way, Raj, that Nuge should be our third line center. I've been saying this for 5 years, but at the end of the day, we gave up another great future asset for another great asset that can maybe give us, some NHL minutes quicker. But we're going to just quickly talk about how Mangiapane, Howard, and the third player, which is Savoie, are going to kind of fit into the lineup. So we're going to take a look here on Daily Faceoff. They have the lineups here. And they've kind of placed Howard on the first line with Connor McDavid here. As you can see, beside that, you have Hyman there on the right wing. And then Matthew Savoie is penciled in here next to Draisaitl and Podkolzin. Trent Frederick next to Hopkins and Mangiapane is placed here. And then our fourth line is Janmark, Henrique, and Kapanen, which I absolutely love. I just don't see this being the final kind of lines to kind of hold throughout the rest of the season. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how good or how successful can you be having two rookies in your top six. I mean, having one, yes, okay, a lot of teams do that. But to have one on your first line, one on your second line, that doesn't really make sense to me. I think they will rotate between, lines 1, 2, and 3, the two rookies anyways. And I do think Mangiapane will stay either with Draisaitl or McDavid, most likely with Draisaitl. You need experience with experience, Like too many rookies in the lineup is not the best. Like one rookie at a time, sure, you can develop and you can still win. But to expect McDavid to play with one and then Draisaitl to play with the other one, and for us to kind of not get any hiccups or I don't think that's realistic. But they need to get the experience, and we need them to play because we simply cannot afford somebody that is making more. So these rookie deals, the Oilers right now are in dire need of them because they can't afford to sign a guy for 1.5 or 2 million to plug in anywhere else. That's what it comes down to, really.
Yeah, so I mean that's kind of where these guys have them kind of penciled in. I think Savoie has a better chance than Howard to make this team long term. Just because he has a full year of pro hockey under his belt. But, I mean, those are the guys, and that's kind of where they have them, and I agree 100% with you. We cannot... It's not good for the player too, Raj. It's not good for, a rookie to come in, much less two rookies. These are your top two prospects in your system, in my opinion. O'Reilly's out now. For Howard, but I mean, after these two guys, who do we have in our system? Our top guy might be Bo Akey on defense, right? So, our system has just been depleted, and we did sign that European guy. Do you know his name off the top of your head?
The 27-year-old.
Yeah. So this guy's been...
I think it's Thomas something.
Thomasek. Yeah. So we did sign Thomasek, and they say he's going to fit in on that, third line somewhere. So one of these guys is not going to stick. It's just simple, looking at history of rookies coming in. I mean, if you're, Eric Lindros coming into the NHL, you have a big frame. You're probably going to make the team and be able to handle an 82-game schedule against grown men. But the other factor that, these guys have against them is size, right? They're not the biggest, right? They're extremely skilled, extremely fast offensive players. But when it comes down to the NHL, it's a completely different beast, and it's a long season, and the wear and tear of, a 20-year-old going up against a 32-year-old, 35-year-old grown man, it starts to wear on you. So I don't know what's going to happen, but I do see one of them sticking. They might both get a chance, but I don't know if they're going to waste a complete year on, Isaac Howard's entry-level deal if he doesn't kind of show signs of being able to score immediately and produce some offense, because you are playing with, either the best player in the NHL or the second best player in the NHL. So there needs to be some sort of production that happens. And if it doesn't happen and the Oilers kind of start the season off bumpy and all that, like, you're not going to have time. Like you said, you got to put somebody with experience there that can just kind of do what's necessary to get the W, right?
Yeah, I mean, I know exactly what you're saying, but I think they're kind of stuck with them because of, the cap crunch they put themselves in.
Yeah.
They can't afford to send, Howard down. Like, they traded for him because he's a cheap fill-in with a lot of upside. But every year, I mean, how many rookies make that much impact? Not many. Like, if you're not drafted top 5, you're usually spending a few years in the minors. And now Howard didn't go that route. He played NCAA, so maybe that's a good thing. But who knows? Like, it's a complete crapshoot. It's like drafting a player. You never know what you have until they're actually in your lineup, and you see them out, like, not just 1 year, but it's going to take a few years to evaluate if this was the right move or not.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. So that's pretty much it. Just wanted to bring everybody kind of up to speed on what's going on. Wanted to say hello to everyone. We got as well a video coming up on the schedule for the Edmonton Oilers, so we'll have that video up in the next couple of days. And that's pretty much it for today's episode. So did you have anything else you wanted to mention, Raj?
Well, I just want to leave our awesome fans with this. I love the Oilers so much. I love McDavid so much, and Draisaitl. We're so lucky to have them. But I think I'm at the conclusion where I cannot see us winning a cup with Nurse and his contract on our team. So I am really, really hoping. Sometimes they have big deals in August. So I'm hoping the Oilers can swing a big hockey trade in August that will involve Darnell Nurse. Not because I don't like him. I actually like Darnell Nurse. I think he's a heart and soul guy. He's stuck up for his guys so many times. We haven't had a tough guy on our roster in so long. So he's always faced, to deal with the toughest guy on the other team, and most of the time he does really well. So I love that about him. But it's not him that I don't like. It's his contract that, we just cannot win with. Like, $9.25 million. Imagine if that's not given to him, where we could use that to really fill out our roster instead of, relying on 2 and 3 rookies to make the team.
Yeah, 100%. We've been put in that cap crunch situation by Ken Holland, and we're still dealing with paying out Jack Campbell's contract, for example. That counted against our cap, $2.5 million, right? So I think it drops down next season, but just wasted money everywhere, and you keep doing that over time, and you keep handing in no movement clauses, when you're signing guys. All of a sudden you end up in this situation. So for sure, something's gotta give. To me, I see this as a kind of a wait and see year. I'm not very optimistic on this year as far as going all the way. The only thing that could change my mind on that, Raj, is if we did somehow pull off a deal for like a Sorokin. If you got that kind of an elite goalie in net, that's going to change everything, I think, for the Oilers. But if the likelihood of that, like I said, is going to be very difficult, and those goalies come with big contracts, and the only person that we can afford to kind of do without, because whatever you're going to take out, you're going to need to replace, right? So The only person is Darnell Nurse, and how they would do that, I don't know. And plus, he has a no movement clause. Like, he could say no, right? Like, he could just say no, and they're stuck. Like, it's that easy, right? Like, there's that much control with the players. So I don't like to bank too much on that, but the only person I see, like, for example, if they say, oh, let's move Hyman, like, that's too big of a hole to replace, especially after losing, Kane and Perry and Brown. Like, now Hyman is untouchable in my eyes anyways, as far as
Hyman is great value too. I mean, he's
great value.
He's got you don't want to move that.
Nuge is great value too, but at the end of the day, you got to do something to get something. You got to give something to get something, right?
Yes, and you can't have Nurse, Ekholm, and Bush accounting for almost $26 million. That's 3 defensemen, and none of them are a true number one. Ekholm and Bush are probably both number 2 kind of guy. So to have that kind of money allocated, that's hard. Like I said, man, I love Nurse, but I love him at like 4.5 million. Fantastic. 9.25 cannot win with that on the team.
Well, we'll see what happens. So that's going to do it for today's episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't yet, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. We'd really appreciate it. We're kind of gearing up here for preseason here in September, and the Oilers officially kick off their schedule, I believe, on October 8th versus the Calgary Flames. So we're gonna have a whole video on that, on the schedule, and kind of the must-see games. So we'll do that in another video. But for now, that's gonna do it for today's episode. Thanks so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Thanks, Raj, for coming on. Really appreciate it. And
thank you.
You're welcome. And most importantly, go Oilers, go.
August Miracle.
Frozen or hockey, the channels you need. Oilers on the ice, unstoppable speed. Chasing the cup, we're gonna succeed. With the David leading, we're built to exceed.